everybody, I hope you're keeping well. Now today I am going to bake another historical recipe. This one is from 1944 and it's called the Grant Loaf. It's kind of based loosely on the national loaf that you had during wartime Britain, but a little bit more luxurious, I suppose, and it's a stickier dough and you only have one rising and you beat it instead of kneading it. This recipe is from the 2010 publication, The Great British Book of Baking, which was based on the first series of the Great British Bake Off, which of course is a cookery show and it's on every year. Of course, the recipes now tend to be a bit fancier than the bakes that were prepared during the first series. This is an excellent, quick and easy loaf named after Doris Grant, who first published the recipe in Your Daily Bread in 1944. She claimed it was the result of an accidental success. The mixture is mixed rather than kneaded, then given just one rising in the tin, but it has inspired at least a couple of generations of bread makers. It has a lovely flavour and makes superb toast. Now, they recommend you use a good quality stone ground wholemeal flour, such as the extra strong Canadian type, and make sure the mixture doesn't rise too quickly. It's quite ambient in here today. We've had rain all morning. It's not warm, but it's not cold. I'd say the temperature is lukewarm. This will help avoid any holes developing in the centre of the loaf. In hot weather, use water straight from the cold tap and avoid leaving the loaf in too warm a place to rise. So don't put it in the airing cupboard or over the stove. Once you've made the loaf a few times, you can add your own touches, such as sesame seeds or maybe some nigella seeds or medium oatmeal, generously sprinkled inside the tin and on top of the loaf mixture before rising. A rounded teaspoon of well-flavoured honey, which is what I tend to do, added with the water is nice, or try good spelt flour for a wonderfully nutty wheat taste. Well, I've got some spelt flour. If I don't have enough to make this loaf, I will also add some Pain de Campagne flour, which is a nice French brown flour. So let's get started. The first thing I have done is to grease this 2-pound loaf tin with a little butter. Make sure you get the butter in all the corners. In a bowl, I have placed 750 grams of spelt and Pain de Campagne brown flour. I'm using a sachet of yeast. I'm placing it on one side of the flour and I'll add 1.5 teaspoons of sea salt on the other side. Mix that all together with the hands, very gently like that. I've measured out 15 grams of cold unsalted butter. I'm going to add that to the bowl and then just crumble it through with my fingertips, just as you would if you were making pastry or a fruit crumble, just like that. And this needs to be mixed in thoroughly until we've got very fine breadcrumbs. There we go. I have 650 ml of lukewarm water. I'm adding about 1 teaspoon of runny honey to stir through. And now the water gets mixed into the flour mixture here. It says mix it with the hands, but that's too messy for me. I'm going to use a wooden spoon. I've made a well. And let's pour this in. I'm just going to drag everything from the outside of the bowl into the centre. It's supposed to be a very wet mixture, but I'll see how it goes because I'm using French flour and the wheat is completely different from British flour. It tends to be a lot finer, and I often find I don't need as much liquid. Add a bit more. I also think that by doing this you won't get any lumps and the bread will have a really nice crumb. Looks like I may be using all of the water on this occasion, but that's fine. You need muscles to do this. The instructions say it takes about 5 minutes for everything to start to leave the sides of the bowl. But I must say, this has formed a lot quicker than that. It's left the sides fairly rapidly. I'm supposed to mix it for 5 minutes, but it doesn't really need 5 minutes. It's hard work. Incidentally, if you do want to use your hands to mix the dough, I would recommend that you wet your hands before you get them in there, and then half the dough won't end up on your hands and through your fingers. That would be my tip. It's similar to ciabatta. This is about right. Do you see how elastic it's become? And it's coming away from the sides of the bowl. That's just about right. So I'm going to tip that now into the bread tin. It's quite heavy. Lifting the bowl helps to build the muscles up, that's for sure. It's very elastic. It's come together really well. I'll try and get all the dough out of the bowl. I should have probably used a spatula. Never mind. I'll try and even it out as best as I can. Make sure it's in the corners. Then the best thing is to wet the hands a little with just lukewarm water and just finish pressing the dough in all the corners just to straighten it out a bit. There, that's about right. And I'm going to just tap it a couple of times as well and shake it to even it out. And I'm going to cover this now and put it aside, covered with a clean, damp tea towel, and wait for it to rise. It may take an hour, but it could take more, and it'll probably be more tummy kind as well. Well, the loaf seems to have spilled over slightly. It did make a bit of a mess of the work surface. It bubbled over. I'm going to get it in the oven now and we'll see what happens. The loaf is going in at 200 Celsius, 400 Fahrenheit, gas mark 6, for between 45 minutes and an hour. That has to be the most active loaf I have ever experienced. The instructions did say about an hour, but in this kitchen it's usually not enough. Note to self, if I make this recipe again, stick strictly to the hour. It will be more than enough. You live and learn. It's the first time I've done this loaf. It looks okay. I think it'll be okay. I have a little bit of cleaning up to do and I'll see you back when the loaf is ready. Well, the bread has cooled down now, so it's time to taste it. Let's see what it tastes like. It's come out well. It's got a firm crust. Ooh, that's what it looks like. I'm starving. It's got a lovely crumb. This is only a thin piece. It tastes really yummy. The crumb has a really nice texture. Look at that. It's got a beautiful flavour. It's nice and soft on the inside and nice and crispy on the outside. I baked this for about 45-50 minutes. Remember, oven temperatures vary. I've just put a little bit of unsalted butter. That is excellent. I would genuinely make this loaf again, but next time I will watch it like a hawk and make sure it doesn't have longer than an hour to avoid any spillages or disasters. So I hope you enjoyed this recipe. Do give it a go. And please like, comment, share, subscribe if you haven't done so. And remember to hit the notification bell. All of this helps the algorithm. And I'll see you again soon for the next one. Until then, bye for now.